70 million ounces of silver delivered off of COMEX in the last 2 years. Well, is there any coincidence you think that India imported, over 400 million in the last few years? So when we talk about the amount of silver and gold that are leaving the vaults, no, I mean, even when they did a report about it last year, there was a non-biased report by mainstream media, and it basically said all of this gold is leaving, and a large percentage of it, they're not sure where it's going, but they assume it's going to the BRICS nations. And that's really kind of the allure also to this, is not only the ability.
In a financial world marked by uncertainty, the move of BRICS nations towards trading in local currencies and prioritizing gold over U.S. bonds signals a profound shift away from the dollar, as outlined by Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. This strategic pivot reflects a broader trend towards a commodities-based financial system, potentially reshaping global economic dynamics. Schectman's insights into the significant flow of precious metals to countries like India and China underscore the importance of gold and silver as stabilizers in an increasingly volatile market. Amidst these economic shifts, concerns over the erosion of free speech and private property rights highlight the intertwined nature of finance and democracy. Schectman advises on the prudence of investing in physical gold and silver, not for immediate wealth, but as a hedge against the unpredictable tides of the global economy, urging individuals to prepare for a future where financial stability and freedom are paramount. Before we dive into Andy Schectman's insights, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to support our channel. Also, check out the pinned comment for some amazing sign-up bonuses. Enjoy the video.
Well, what happens when the dollar starts to get clubbed and everyone starts dumping dollars? And you see that 54% of all the COMEX gold has been taken off the COMEX since February 2021. And I guess what I would say is that when gold starts to rise in your currency, despite, I guess we can even call it the illusion of positive real rates, which we've seen here, which we all know they're not real, but according to the lies that we get out of the CPI, okay, they're real. That means your government's got some serious debt problems if rates remain positive. And I don't believe you'll see rates fall one bit. Now you're beginning to see them taking that off the table and even talking about rate increases. You're beginning to see a steepening of the yield curve again, where people are shedding 10-year treasuries in anticipation, and 20-year and 30-year in anticipation of higher inflation to buy the short-term rates and the debt issuance of Janet Yellen and the spending. You're going to see, I think, higher rates on short-term treasuries and higher rates on long-term treasuries. And the bottom line is this is not good for the funding prospects of the debt and of maintaining it for Main Street. And you're going to see all sorts of problems with commercial real estate, and all of that stuff will manifest. What is the trigger? Who the heck knows? We live in a world where, all of a sudden, nothing makes sense. But, it's interesting. Jamie Dimon bought 1.235 million shares of JP Morgan between 2009 and 16 at the bottom, and he just sold almost 822,000 shares at the top for $150 million for the first time ever. And we keep talking about all of these insiders that are selling, or not Janet, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi, who just bought huge call options on a cyber, 1.25 million on a Palo Alto's networks, one of the leading cybersecurity companies in the world. And lo and behold, that's way up today. And so when you talk about what's happening, the rot at the highest level of our leaders, our administrations, and yet when people try to figure out where the hell we are, Craig Hemke had a really interesting article. He talked about the fact that for the last 4 months in a row, the consumer confidence data came out really high, and you would see big market moves off this consumer confidence data, but really quietly they've revised 4 months in a row to massively negative. In fact, this in January, it was the most negative since February of 2022. And so whether it be lies about consumer confidence, about inflation, about interest rates, about any of this stuff, we're being misdirected, we're being lied to. And at the same time, Bezos and Zuckerberg and Diamond and the CFO of Discover Company and all of these insiders and tech insiders, they're building bunkers and heading for the hills. it's misdirection. And I think that people need to understand the fact that we haven't seen things play out the way we would expect them to in a linear world. This is a very high stakes game. And if you're getting close to the end of the game, and the insiders who know the playbook, well, they're not going to tell any of us. They're going to do all they can to position themselves, whether it be getting out of equities and into cash, accumulating gold. What is it? Druckenmiller, I think, just bought huge amounts of gold. The insiders know the playbook, and you have to sometimes see what they're doing. And look, I would say this: wisdom is seeing what is really happening as being truth rather than what we are being told is truth. And I think we can see what is happening around the globe is not being told to us. We are being told that, oh, the economy is great, unemployment's great, and then we revise the 2023 numbers down by 40%. But the January numbers were amazing. Of course, those are seasonally adjusted numbers, and they'll be adjusted downward. So all of the things that we talk about that make this economy seem so great, well, they're really not. And so I think we're being misled in many ways by our own administration, who isn't telling us the truth.
Silver continues to show signs of strength. We are currently testing the 200-day exponential moving average, which of course will capture a lot of attention. Above, we have a significant barrier in the form of 2350. That is followed by 2450 and then eventually $26. When you look at the action of silver over the last several years, the area between $22 and $26 has been an area of intense focus for the market. On today's news, spot silver gains with focus set on FOMC minutes. The FOMC minutes could provide more clues regarding the timing of the central bank's potential interest rate cuts. The Fed is anticipated to cut the federal funds rate as soon as June, according to a Reuters poll of economists. Lower interest rates tend to decrease the opportunity cost of holding silver, which pays no interest. To conclude, Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco President Mary Daly acknowledged remarkable progress made on inflation, but also noted there was more work to do to ensure price stability. Now, we'll show you more clipsmen making sense of this news, but first hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and check our pinned comment for some massive sign-up bonus, as Bybit gives you free $20 to trade crypto just for creating an account. So you can start trading Bitcoin within an hour. Let's get into the video.
I think this is exactly why you're seeing countries join the BRICS, which Iraq just formally did apply to the BRICS. Look, this is the hypocrisy that the world would say is the reason, the rallying cry, if you will, in the respect that, look, imagine this was the United States and think about it from this perspective. We invaded Iraq 20 years ago under the guise of finding weapons of mass destruction. We're sorry we didn't find any. I know we destroyed your country and toppled your regime, but we did it under good pretenses, under the guise of democracy. And here we are 20 years later, still occupying their country. We are sanctioning, I believe, 14 of their banks as they tried to trade with Iranian banks to buy liquid natural gas. Those banks are being sanctioned. You can't trade with Iran. That's a no-no. So what did Iraq do? They, as we've said before, they made trading in dollars illegal. If you own a business and trade in dollars, you risk going to prison and having your business confiscated. They have publicly said over the last few weeks that all coalition forces will be kicked out of the country. As I mentioned, they did formally apply to BRICS. And the reason, to his point, last year they made $90 billion in oil revenue and asked the Fed for $1 billion of it. And we said, no, that's too much. There's these withdrawal limits or whatever. And can you only imagine? They after 20 years of supposedly being liberated by the US, they still can't control their own natural resource proceeds. And it's being held by the Fed. And when they ask for $1 billion, we say no. So they got rid of all dollars out of the country. There is not a bank in Iraq that will have green dollar bills in them. So between making trading in dollars illegal, getting dollar bills out of the country, formally applying to BRICS, and being told by the West that, no, we are sitting on your 100 billion. We know you made 90 billion last year. sorry, we're going to tell you when and how you can take your own money for your natural resources. If this was America, God forbid, can you only imagine? You would see things very differently. And I think you have to put yourself in the other position to understand it. And this is the rallying cry against the Western suppression and hegemony. It is not for the US to dictate and decide these things. If indeed we are liberating the way that we did World War II, then you get the hell out of the country and you don't occupy it and direct what can and cannot be done. Now people will say, well, we're still in Korea and we're still in Germany and we're all over the place. Well, that's another problem. Our founding fathers said, get the hell out of everyone's affairs and get your own affairs in order. We'd be better served bringing all our troops home, using them to help rebuild our infrastructure, to solidify our borders, and to stop meddling and pissing everyone off. And that's the truth of it. There are companies out there that sell Canadian backpacks and jackets for U.S. travelers abroad so they can appear as though they're Canadian. It's sad, but it's true. And this is the problem. And this is why you are seeing all of these countries unite. Because they wonder, are we next? And they see what we've done to Russia. They see what we've done to Iran. They see what we're doing to Iraq. They see what we're doing around the world. And the difference between what China and the BRICS nations are doing, it is wholly cooperative. There is no coercion in any respect in what they are doing. And that is the difference at some point. And then you look at our finances, we're broke, we're insolvent. And then you look at what we stand for as a country. It used to be amazing, liberty, justice, freedom, truth, honor, justice, and
What do you think of today's episode? Is Schectman spot on at this time? Post in the comments section down below your honest price prediction for gold and silver in 2024, and watch this video right here because you'll love it. I see you on the other side.